Good evening, I'm Gary Reggae and I'm going to try and teach you how to play some ska. First of all, the important thing is to make sure you've got the sound right. Most ska, sort of particularly Bad Manners songs, use an organ of some kind, but you've got to make sure it's the right kind of organ. Let's have a look. If you've got a sort of a generic keyboard, which probably most of you have got, like a Yamaha or a Casio or something like that, you'll have plenty of different organs to choose from. For example, a church organ. No, you don't use that for ska. Neither do you use a theatre organ. That's more for Blackpool Tower, really. And you're probably going to have some other weird things like click organ or percussive organ. You don't really want that for ska. Purple organ, I don't know what that is. Definitely not. Rock organ, sounds promising. It's actually very disappointing. Jazz organ? That's alright. Really what you need is a Hammond organ sound. And the best thing for that is a real Hammond organ, but maybe not actually, because they're extremely heavy and quite hard to get hold of these days. Most sort of generic keyboards don't really have a very good Hammond organ sound. This one is an exception actually. That's the sort of sound you want, a sort of Rotary organ, so. That sort of thing, that sounds pretty good, and as I say, most keyboards are cheap, you won't get something like that, but this is actually very good. This one is just under £200 and it's a Yamaha PSR E413, which I highly recommend actually, because the cheaper ones than this just don't have that Rotary organ sound, and you've got a few half decent sounds, but really you want the sort of a punchy Rotary organ type sound, that sort of thing. Of course there are alternatives. If you want something a bit better, you could get a sound module, so something like this thing here. Basically it's a MIDI device. You plug it into the keyboard and it transmits via MIDI, so what you play on the keyboard comes out as different sounds. And this one is actually quite an old one, that, but it's quite good because it's got the good Vox Continental sound, but I'll come back onto those later. Of course, the other thing you can have if you want a Hammond organ sound is what's called a clone wheel type keyboard. Now this is a modern digital equivalent of a Hammond organ, sort of about the same size as a normal keyboard. It's a lot heavier though, but it really does sound extremely good, this does. So you've just got sort of let's turn that one down. So it's sort of this sort of sound. Oh dear, sorry. And that sort of Hammond organ sound is what Bad Manners mainly use, particularly on all their earlier songs. Also, you could, a much cheaper option probably, and if you don't need to gig or anything, then it's definitely a good idea for practicing stuff, is connect an ordinary MIDI keyboard up to a computer, and then you can download some software called B4, or B42 I think it is, Native Instruments it's made by, and basically it's a synthesizer on the computer. It's software that you connect the MIDI keyboard up and it sounds like a Hammond organ, and you can change all the settings and everything. There's a few interesting things about a Hammond organ that make it different from other organs really. You've got drawbars, which I'll show you. If I can excuse me, I can adjust the camera. These are the drawbars here, and you zoom in on that a bit, and you can see these things that slide out. Basically, there's like 9 different types of tone that a Hammond organ can produce, and these are just the volume of each type of tone. So, for example, if I've got all those out, you get that sort of sound. Whereas if I push most of them in, you get a much different type of sound. all in, you don't get any sound at all. But the interesting thing with drawbars is the settings for them are often very different, and people like different drawbar settings. I don't know what setting Martin Stewart of Bad Manners used. I wish I did, because it's a very unique type of sound actually, particularly on some of the videos I've seen on YouTube of Lip Up Fatty and things like that. It's a very, very sharp, punchy sound. But that's another subject anyway. If you want to know more about drawbar settings, let me know, and I can perhaps put a video about them, or some of my better settings. Anyway, I'm just going to show you a few of the settings I've got on here. That's quite a nice one actually. That's I don't know what it is, I haven't got numbers on here. And this one, which is a bit more punchy. And this one, which is sounds very similar to the rotary organ on the Yamaha actually. Almost identical to that, so that's actually quite good, that Yamaha. This is that's more sort of a 60s type sound, and this is a sound I quite like. This is probably my favourite one, the one I use most. That's quite a Bad Manners type sound actually. Then this one's quite good for doing in a London Violence. Anyway, so that's a bit about the drawbar settings. The other thing with Hammond sound is, which is very important actually, is what's called a rotary speaker, which is something that is used pretty much only with Hammond organs really. Basically it's a type of speaker that's with a thing that's spun round in it, and it makes a very unique sound, and it can be fast or slow, so and you can hear it slowing down. When it was a physical mechanical speaker, the actual speaker did slow down, and you can hear that. There's a button on the keyboard that speeds it up and slows it down. I'll just show you that actually. See, just by the drawbars there, you've got this button here, and that slows it down and speeds it up. By the way, if you're wondering, this is a Roland VK7, which is as I say, it's a digital clone wheel organ. It's made to sound like a Hammond organ. Doesn't do anything else very well. If you want a piano or anything like that, then forget it. But for Hammond sounds, it's fantastic. As I say, press the button, press it again, it speeds up, and you can do some really good effects with that. It sounds really good actually, particularly if you're at the end of the song. You can I do that a lot when I'm on stage actually.